telling a story.
So when I was a teenager, we used to listen to lots of songs on the radio, and like you listen to, what do we listen to now? Songs on the phone, and music on the phone. Yeah. So, and we'd listen to all the music, and sometimes it wasn't just songs, but it would be like funny stories, and people would buy those records and they'd become popular, and they would be top 10 in the country or top 40 in the country. And one of them, one of the stories that became popular was called Rindersella. Rindersella is, what do you think that is? It's a story of Rindersella. Yeah.
Has something to do with Cinderella?
Yeah, so it's Cinderella, but the guy who told this turned a lot of the parts of the word, switched parts of words, so it sounds kind of funny. So I'll just take a couple of minutes, and I'm going to read the story of Rindersella. You can see if you can tell what I'm talking about while I'm reading it, okay? Here we go. Once upon a time, in a corn country, what would that be? Once upon a time, in a corn country, there lived a beautiful girl, and her name was Rindersella. Now, Rindersella lived with her mugly other and her sugly stepsisters. Also in the same corn country, there lived a Prancing Hinz. And this Prancing Hinz was going to have a fancy fall. What is that? A fancy ball. Excuse me. And he'd invited people for riles amount, especially the pitch repo. Especially the pitch repo. What is that? The rich people. He especially invited the rich people, right? So now Rindersella's ugly other and her two sad blisters went to town to buy some, drancy fesses for the Bancy Fall. But Rindersella couldn't go because all she had to wear were some old ruddy dags. Finally, the night of the Bancy Fall arrived and Rindersella couldn't go, so she just sat down and shried. And she was sitting there shrying when all of a sudden there appeared before her Gary Mudfather, and he touched her with his magic wand, and there appeared before her a Kid Boach and Hicks White sources to take her to the Bancy Fall. But he said, Rindersella, be sure and be home before midnight, or I'll turn you into a tumpkin. When Rindersella arrived at the Bancy Fall, the Prancing Hinz met her at the door, because he'd been watching behind a wooden window. And Rindersella and the Prancing Hinz rant all night until midnight, and they lull in fub. And finally the mid-clock struck night, and Rindersella sent down the rares, and just as she beached the Rodham, she slopped her dripper. The next day, this Prancing Hinz went all over the corn country looking for the beautiful girl who had slopped her dripper. The next day, then they finally came to Rindersella's house, and he tried it on the ugly other, and it didn't fit. Then he tried it on the two sissy ugglers, and it didn't, and it fit did. And then he tried it on Rindersella, and it fit did. It was exactly the right size. Oh, excuse me, it was exactly the size right. And so they were married and lived heavily ever hapwards. Now the story of this story is, if you go to a Bancy Fall and you want a Prancing Hinz to lull in fub with you, don't forget to slop your dripper.